Alright guys, we are going to be reacting to Germany's next gen tank killer will turn Russia armor into confetti. Thank you so much for the support, guys. We're going to simply jump in here, see what's going on. We're going to react to more German military stuff, let's put it that way. Hopefully we can just get this thing going. Make sure you guys subscribe, help me get to that 10,000 subscriber, guys. Let's jump in.
Has dominated the world's battlefields. The concept of advancing under some kind of protection from enemy projectiles has been around since ancient times. But in the early 20th century, the invention of the internal combustion engine, armor plate, and the continuous track system were finally combined to create a machine capable of not only providing protection, but delivering deadly force as well. In World War I, trench warfare had become a stalemate, with traditional methods of attack proving ineffective against entrenched positions, barbed wire, and machine guns. The introduction of the tank solved that problem decisively and fundamentally affected the way war has been waged ever since. Tanks have, of course, evolved dramatically over the decades, with massive upgrades to their offensive, defensive, and technical capabilities. However, they've also always been far from indestructible. That's because, as tanks have evolved, so have the anti-tank weapons used to counter them. Like so many other weapon systems and the countermeasures deployed against them, it's an ongoing game of cat and mouse. Tanks are upgraded to deal with the latest anti-tank weapons, and then anti-tank weapons are upgraded to combat the upgraded tanks, and on it goes. And in the ongoing battle, the anti-tank side has fired the latest deadly volley. German defense giant Rheinmetall, in collaboration with its US counterpart Lockheed Martin, has unveiled the latest evolution in anti-tank warfare, the Fuks Jagm. Unveiled at the Defense and Security Equipment International 2025 exhibition in London, it's designed to combat the latest Russian and Chinese tanks, and its highly advanced design is sure to give tank designers in Moscow and Beijing some sleepless nights. Let's take a closer look at the Fuks Jagm and what it tells us about tank and anti-tank warfare today and in the future. The Fuks, which translates to the fox in German, Jagm is built on top of the Fuks Evolution platform. The 6x6 wheeled platform has been one of Rheinmetall's stock in trade since its introduction in 1979. The versatile platform is considered by the German army, the Bundeswehr, to be the backbone of all its branches. Of the over 1,400 vehicles based on the platform that have been built over the years for the Bundeswehr, over 800 systems in over 40 different variants are still in use. As the name suggests, the most recent update, the Evolution, is jam-packed with modern features that Rheinmetall says will make it competent for the next 2 decades at least. It has an enlarged interior, can carry higher payloads, and features an improved powertrain with an anti-lock braking system and a central tire inflation system. Additional protection against ballistic, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear has also been added. Plus, the vehicle conforms to the NATO Generic Vehicle Architecture, or NGVA, an open standard level that simplifies the integration of multiple electronic subsystems, all of which can be operated from a multifunction crew display and control unit. An upgrade kit can be applied to the basic vehicle to either offer better amphibious protection or high protection against fire, IEDs, and mines. These variations mean that the Fuks Evolution can be used out of the box as a troop transport, command and reconnaissance vehicle, combat support vehicle for an engineering or medical force, or a combat vehicle with an integrated medium caliber turret. Kits.
So basically everything in one kind of vehicle. You can use it for multiple purposes. Everything in one. So you can just carry soldiers, you can carry medical supplies, you can carry everything while being protected at the same time.
Also exists to easily upgrade the vehicle into a mine-clearing vehicle, an electronic warfare vehicle, or a platform for carrying radar systems and masts. Now there's a new member of the Fuks family, designed specifically to destroy advanced tanks like Russia's flagship T-90M Proriev and China's Type 99A. As designed, the Fuks Jagm can be mounted with up to 24 vertically launched missiles loaded in 6 quad launchers. That's a huge amount of instant, on-demand firepower on a single armored vehicle. Having several at their disposal would give troops the ability to rapidly engage a significant force, such as an entire brigade of tanks. The launchers use a compressed gas generator to pop the missile out of its container before the motor ignites. This technology was actually originally developed for the M299 launcher, a 4-rail design intended for use on helicopters. It's the system used on the AH-64 Apache, as well as the popular Mark 41 vertical launch system, or VLS, found on numerous warships in the US and other navies. Now it's also being used on a wheeled vehicle. As for the missiles, the Fuks Jagm can currently launch two types: Lockheed Martin's AGM-179 Joint Air-to-Ground Missile and the older AGM-114R Hellfire. The Jagm also comes in a medium-range Jagm-MR variant, given the system added versatility across target profiles and engagement distances. Both the Hellfire and the standard Jagm have a range of around 5 miles, while the MR version of the Jagm has roughly double the range, around 10 miles. All three missiles use a 20-pound, tandem-shaped charge fragmentation warhead, but they differ in their guidance methods. The Hellfire uses semi-active laser homing to zero in on its targets, meaning an operator must designate the target with a laser so the missile can strike it. The Jagm uses a multi-mode seeker that combines an improved semi-active laser seeker for precision strikes with millimeter-wave radar. The radar mode enables fire-and-forget engagements of moving targets in all weather conditions. Moreover, the Jagm can also use both modes at once, locating targets via laser designation and then homing in on them using the radar. This is especially useful if the laser beam is temporarily obstructed by atmospheric conditions or breaks off for any reason during the terminal phase of an attack. If that happens, by using the millimeter wave seeker, the missile should be able to still hit its target in most cases, but this radar engagement capability also allows for large salvo launches to strike targets simultaneously, since each target doesn't need to be individually designated by a laser. Regardless of which of the three available missile types is launched, targets are detected and engaged using an onboard electro-optical sensor package mounted on a roughly 14-foot-high telescopic mast. That should be more than sufficient elevation for the majority of line-of-sight targeting that may be required. According to Rheinmetall, the sensors are also able to acquire and lock on targets at a distance of 5 miles, which is conveniently—
Damn, that is 5 miles is wow. That is kind of far away. 5 miles is wow. It's almost 5 minutes on drive. 5 to 5 or 6 minutes on drive in a car. Wow, that's a lot of distance.
also the maximum range of the Jagm and Hellfire missiles. However, targets can also be acquired using off-board sensors from third-party assets like drones, which may be required to achieve maximum performance from the longer-ranged Jagm MR. Furthermore, the basic sensors can detect multiple targets simultaneously, allowing up to 24 main battle tanks or other targets to be engaged in rapid succession without reloading. The ability to target 24 tanks in a single salvo, pretty much simultaneously and without reloading, is the kind of advantage that can end a tank fight before it even really starts. But the Fuks Jagm certainly isn't constrained to only hitting tanks. Rheinmetall also identifies air defense systems, patrol boats, artillery and rocket launchers, radar installations, command and control nodes, bunkers, and other structures in urban and complex terrain as suitable targets.
That's the company that we reacted a couple of videos ago, right? Great company, by the way. Great military company.
It can also engage aerial targets like drones, at least in some scenarios. Indeed, while the Jagm missile was initially developed primarily as an air-launched anti-tank weapon, it can be readily installed on ground vehicles like the Fuks platform and warships, including relatively small patrol boats. In its quad launcher, it can give land units, even smaller, lighter groups, a powerful weapon for engaging heavily armored vehicles, strongpoints, and similarly well-protected targets. Both Jagm and Hellfire have a pop-up flight profile, so they can be used against softer targets hiding behind hard cover, such as high walls or rocky outcroppings. That's particularly valuable in operations in dense urban areas. So considering all of these capabilities, it is somewhat of a head-scratcher why the uptake of this advanced missile has been so limited to date. Currently, only the US, UK, Poland, South Korea, and the Netherlands have ordered the Jagm missile system for use on their attack helicopters and drones. The US is already using Jagms on its AH-64E Apache attack helicopters and AH-1Z Viper attack helicopters, as well as on the MQ-1C Grey Eagle UAV. The UK and the Netherlands have also acquired the Jagm system for installation on their AH-64E Apache helicopters, with the purchases approved by the US State Department in October 2023 and June 2025, respectively. In fact, the launch of the Fuks Jagm is in part motivated by the desire to grow the market for the system, particularly in Europe. Speaking at the unveiling, Lockheed Martin's Vice President and General Manager of Tactical Missiles for Missiles and Fire Control, Paula Hartley, said as much. She also suggested that the collaboration between the US and German defense giants will strengthen Europe's economies and security. That could be an important factor in the uptake of the system, as NATO's European members embark on a defense spending spree not seen since the end of the Cold War. Earlier in 2025, NATO members committed to increasing their defense spending to 5% of GDP within a decade. For most of them, that means an increase of more than twofold from current levels of defense spending. The Europeans, understandably, have indicated that they intend to use the increased spending commitment to bolster their own defense industries as far as possible. At the same time, the EU has made substantial commitments to continuing purchasing large quantities of US weapons as part of a trade deal. Thus, a large portion of European defense spending will likely continue to be spent on the US-made weapons that already dominate their arsenals and new ones. However, investing in an asset like the Fuks Jagm, which is produced by a US-European partnership, may allow them to kill two birds with the same stone, so to speak. But meeting defense spending commitments advantageously is far from the only benefit that this cutting-edge system delivers.
Again, money's going to be a problem here, guys. I'm telling you, new technology is going to cost a lot of money.
Cost is another. When it was designed, it was expected to be considerably cheaper than other comparable armored vehicle-based anti-tank solutions, at least according to its manufacturers.
Why is that? Because a lot of these companies, they make an estimation, right? They make an estimation of how much probably will cost. All of a sudden, no, it has to be much more. But then we see places like China and Russia making some of these technology very similar, way cheaper. Way cheaper. You might, I don't know. You guys need to just answer some of these questions. Let me know in the comment section below.
Or there is a fairly wide array of competition for the Fuks Jagm in terms of anti-tank weaponry. The first tanks, like the original British World War I era Mark I, had to be attacked with artillery, mortars and grenades, or lured into ambushes, since effective anti-tank weapons were still in their infancy. That changed near the end of the war with Germany's Mauser Tankgewehr M1918, the world's first purpose-built anti-tank rifle. During the interwar period, European armies refined the concept further, developing small-caliber anti-tank guns like the 37mm Pak-36, which became the standard for many nations. However, as tank armor thickened, these weapons quickly became obsolete, earning the nickname tank door knocker due to their inability to cause meaningful damage. That all changed with the development of the shaped charge, or high-explosive anti-tank round, HEAT for short, which enabled penetration of tank armor independent of the projectile's velocity. Lightweight, portable, heat-firing weapons like the German Panzerfaust, the American Bazooka, and the British Piat, which could be carried and operated by a single soldier, were soon rolling off the production lines. To combat this during World War II, tanks like the Soviet T-34 and German Tiger II were fitted with increasingly thick and sloped armor. Accordingly, anti-tank guns evolved to larger calibers, with weapons like the British 6-pounder and 17-pounder, and the German 8.8cm Pak-43 reaching 57 and even 128mm calibers. Post-World War II, anti-tank warfare advanced in multiple directions. The development of electronically guided missiles introduced fire-and-forget capabilities and significantly improved accuracy and range. These systems often feature tandem warheads to defeat explosive reactive armor, a defensive technology developed in response to heat rounds. Today, modern anti-tank weapon systems fall into four main categories: anti-tank missiles, rocket-propelled grenade launchers or RPG.
Those RPG rockets, right? They look like it costs a lot of money, man. They look like, whoa, like you throwing one missile is gonna cost a lot of money, man.
Tracked anti-tank vehicles and wheeled anti-tank vehicles. However, like the Fuks Jagm, many of both the wheeled and tracked anti-tank vehicles fire anti-tank missiles, blurring some of the boundaries between the categories somewhat. The RPGs can't be considered as direct competition to the Fuks Jagm. They're typically shoulder-fired and generally only fire a single heat round at a time. The main RPGs in use by the NATO family at present include the Swedish Carl Gustaf M4, AT4 Heat, AT4CS AST, AT4CS HP, and NLAW, short for Next Generation Light Anti-Tank Weapon. They're highly effective weapons against tanks and other armored vehicles or fortified positions, and much cheaper than the Fuks Jagm is likely to be. But they're not vehicles, they don't have armor, and can only fire one round at a time, as compared to the Jagm's 24 precision-guided missiles. As for tracked anti-tank vehicles, the most commonly used by NATO members are in fact their main battle tanks, such as the M1A1 and M1A2 Abrams, German Leopard 2A4 and 2A5, and British Challenger 2. The M1 Abrams variants, for example, are equipped with a 120mm M256 smoothbore cannon, which fires advanced ammunition such as the M829 series APFSDS rounds. It will also fire the upcoming M1147 advanced multipurpose round, which is designed for point detonation and airburst modes. Both of these rounds are bad news for enemy tanks if they score a direct hit. There are also a number of specialized tracked anti-tanks for enemy tanks if they score a direct hit. There are also a number of specialized tracked anti-tank vehicles in operation. However, much like the Jagm's wheeled competitors, most models were developed in the 1970s and 80s and being phased out and can't compete with the Jagm's mobility, firepower, and high-tech features. That said, there are a few modern systems, currently operational or in development, that can match the Fuks Jagm's power and features, if not the number of missiles they can fire at once. The Kaplan 10 STA-FNSS, for example, is a new generation, tracked anti-tank armored fighting vehicle developed by the Turkish company FNSS for the Turkish Armed Forces. The smallest member of the Kaplan family of armored vehicles is designed to operate alongside main battle tanks, providing mobile anti-tank capabilities. It's also one of the few specialized anti-tank vehicles with amphibious capabilities. It comes equipped with 2 rear-mounted water propulsion systems that allow it to enter water without prior preparation and maneuver effectively in deep and fast-flowing streams. The Kaplan 10 STA is equipped with a remotely operated, fully
like an old World War I tank.
Stabilized weapon station. Like the Fuks Jagm, it's capable of mounting various anti-tank guided missiles, including the Russian Kornet E, Turkish Mizrak O, and Ukrainian Skif, along with a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. It also features integrated night vision systems, laser-protected periscopes for enhanced situational awareness, and a 360-degree surveillance system. However, since it's not yet available for export and hasn't been configured for NATO missiles, it's not really direct competition for the Fuks in Europe, at least yet. In that regard, the US's FGM-148 Javelin most certainly is. The FGM-148 Javelin is a man-portable, fire-and-forget anti-tank guided missile system developed by Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. The system has seen extensive combat use in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, and notably in Ukraine, to which the US has supplied over 10,000 Javelin systems to date. It's man-portable and only has a range of around 3 miles, half that of the Hellfire or Jagm. However, it's battle-proven, readily available, and highly effective against tanks equipped with explosive reactive armor thanks to its tandem heat warhead. At a unit cost of around $175,000, the Fuks Jagm can't
costs a lot of money, bro.
compete in terms of price. Each Jagm or Hellfire missile fired by the vehicle is likely to cost a similar amount, notwithstanding the cost of the vehicle itself. Along similar lines to the Javelin, but providing more direct competition for the Fuks, is the French Acheron MP, formerly known as the Missile Moyenne Portée, or MMP. This 5th-generation, lightweight, multi-purpose anti-tank guided missile can be either used in a standalone version by dismounted infantry or integrated into combat vehicles to create something akin to the Fuks Jagm. The system is similarly designed to engage a wide range of targets, including main battle tanks, fortified structures, bunkers, and infantry in the open, with a maximum range exceeding 2.5 miles. The Acheron MP employs a tandem heat multi-purpose warhead capable of penetrating up to 39 inches of rolled homogeneous armor and through concrete twice as thick. It features a dual-mode seeker that combines an uncooled infrared sensor and a color television channel, enabling it to operate effectively in various lighting conditions. It also has advanced sensors such as a Band 2 infrared camera, a day camera, a laser rangefinder, GPS, and a magnetic compass to further enhance detection.
That's a computer.
The system is compatible with network-centric warfare and has been integrated onto platforms like the Swedish CV-90 infantry combat vehicle, also widely used by Ukraine. Given these features, integrating it into an existing fleet may prove to be a more cost-effective and flexible option than the Fuks system. Probably the most direct competition for the Fuks Jagm is the forthcoming British Boxer Overwatch, currently a concept demonstrator for a Brimstone missile-equipped variant of the Boxer armored fighting vehicle. It sports an 8-cell launcher module for Brimstone 3 missiles, mounted on the left side of the vehicle, which can be lowered during travel and raised for firing. The Brimstone missile is known for its one-missile multi-platform.
Yeah, but what I'm listening to a lot of this stuff is basically new technology, more expensive, but I don't see the logistic here. Meaning, how can the Western world just make a lot of these new equipment, a lot of these technology, like wartime production?
Versatility. It offers non-line of sight capability, which, as the name suggests, enables it to engage targets without a direct line of sight.
Some of you guys were right. I mean, if you don't want the war to just end up in Germany, you have to support Ukraine. I agree with that. Otherwise, that'll be not smart. I understand. I understand the Russian position. I understand the Ukrainian position. I understand everybody's position. Right? It's more complicated than it seems.
It also features a true dual-mode seeker for precise engagement with low collateral damage in restrictive scenarios. The system is designed to deliver coordinated blows on multiple targets during a single mission and has all-weather fire-and-forget capabilities. This modular design allows the mission module to be changed without modifying the Boxer's drive module, preserving platform mobility and the vehicle's low profile for survivability. Depending on the relative cost, it could well turn out to be the most direct competitor to the Fuks Jagm in terms of market share in Europe in the years to come. The Fuks system can fire 3 times as many types of missiles as the Overwatch, and 3 times more of them in a single salvo. However, Overwatch is more configurable and is likely to be just as futuristic, easy to deploy, and fast. The Fuks Jagm can move at over 60 miles per hour on the road and has a range of around 500 miles. Ultimately, the main competitor for the Fuks system is not likely to come from other high-end systems at all. Over 20,000 pieces of Russian armor have been destroyed or rendered useless by Ukraine in the 3.5 years since Russia invaded it, including several thousand tanks. Over 60% of those have been taken out by drones, most of them simple FPV drones that cost at most a few $1,000s. The missiles fired by the Fuks system cost at least $150,000 each. That's a cost that's well worth using it to destroy a multi-million-dollar T-90M tank. However, destroying the same tank...
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
With a weapon that costs 10 to 20 times less than that and is quicker and easier to produce, is likely to be an even more compelling proposition for Europe's armies. Especially when vehicles like the Fuks Jagm or Boxer Overwatch are at least as vulnerable to these drones as tanks are. As drone technology continues evolving rapidly, it might well turn out that in the next iteration of tank versus anti-tank, the technology that holds the advantage won't be the biggest, most advanced, and most expensive. Small, cheap, agile, and easy to iterate and scale, drones might well steal advanced systems like the Fuks Jagm's Thunder and their market share to boot. Time will tell. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and don't forget
Very good. Again, that's very good. I'll say that's a very good good news, right? I mean that Germany just a lot of European countries are now investing more in new technology rapidly, and some of the arguments are that they want to fight that war right there in Ukraine. That way, it doesn't expand more to the west. So I don't know. I do believe that I still believe in the more practical equation here, that just step back a little bit into technology, just do more per mass production and be more practical, because in more technology means more money needs to spend, more resources, and at that point, and you are going against an enemy that's willing to just throw their entire country against you, I mean, you're gonna require resources and not technology. So let me know what you guys think. I might be wrong here. You guys might have some opinions, but I would love to hear you guys' opinions. I will see you next one.